Brought you your favorite.
Thanks, Daddy.
What would you give me for a basket of hugs?
A basket of kisses. A basket of kisses. A basket of kisses.
On a quiet morning at home, young Emma watches a cat struggling in the fountain in her backyard, drowning helplessly. She feels absolutely nothing. Without even blinking, she simply closes the curtains and calmly gets ready for school. She marks her calendar, straightens all her trophies, and prepares her uniform with precision, everything neatly in place, proving she's an extremely organized and high-achieving child. At breakfast, she talks with her widowed father, David. She proudly announces that the school will award a model student medal this month, and winning it has become her mission. She also asks whether he plans to date again, but quickly adds that it doesn't bother her at all. Before David can respond, Emma's Aunt Angela arrives and mentions she found a new nanny. Emma immediately protests. She doesn't want another nanny, especially after the last one died. She begs Angela to take care of her instead, but Angela already has a full-time job. Emma casually mentions the dead cat in the fountain, and David is forced to go outside and remove the body. At school, a wasp flies into the classroom and the students panic. Emma, however, stays completely calm. She traps the wasp in a cup and releases it out the window. Milo, one of her classmates, is impressed and asks how she did it. Emma casually explains that there's a wasp nest in her backyard, and her father taught her that wasps only sting when threatened. Meanwhile, David interviews Chloe, a cheerful young woman, and hires her as Emma's new nanny, set to start next week. Later that day, Emma notices Milo admiring another girl's fancy wristwatch. When the girl walks away to play, Emma accidentally trips her, pretending it was just a stumble. She helps the girl back up sweetly, while secretly stealing the watch and slipping it into her own pocket without anyone noticing. That night, Emma stands before her mirror practicing her expressions. The perfect smile, the innocent eyes, the sweet voice, rehearsing how to look like the ideal child. The next morning, she dresses in her very best outfit and asks her father to help her look perfect. The school hosts a big ceremony, and the award for model student goes to Milo. Emma claps politely with everyone else, but her tapping foot reveals the anger boiling inside her. After the ceremony, David chats with Milo's mother, who praises Emma's intelligence but notes that she lives in her own world. During the celebration, Emma angrily tells David she deserved the medal and begins listing all of Milo's flaws. David scolds her for being unkind, so she quickly apologizes and pretends to be genuinely happy for her friend. Later on, Emma invites Milo to explore the forest with her. They walk deep into the woods until they reach the edge of a steep cliff. Milo grows nervous, sensing something strange in Emma's behavior. Moments later, Emma returns to the party alone and tries to rush David to leave. When Milo's parents ask where he is, Emma calmly says she hasn't seen him for a while. Suddenly, children scream. Milo's body is found on the beach below the cliff. His parents desperately attempt CPR, but it's too late. Milo is gone. That night, David confides in Angela, worried about the trauma Emma might face. From the hallway, Emma quietly eavesdrops, listening to every word. The next morning, David gently tries to discuss Milo's death with her, but she coldly says there's nothing to talk about. Chloe arrives for her first day. As David shows her the house, she secretly steals some pills from the bathroom cabinet. Later, she watches a movie with Emma but openly mocks the story, which irritates the girl. When Chloe casually asks how Emma feels about Milo's death, Emma answers emotionlessly. It doesn't matter how she feels because Milo is dead, and feelings won't change that. Chloe tries to ask about David's love life. Pretending it's just conversation, Emma reveals that David dated someone after Emma's mother died, but Emma didn't like her, so David ended the relationship. Then Emma reveals she saw Chloe stealing medication and begins blackmailing her. From now on, Emma gets to stay up late, eat ice cream with cookies for dinner, and Chloe has to obey her. Soon, Milo's funeral is held at school. Everyone cries, except Emma. David speaks with Milo's mother and learns the medal is missing. She asks him to send any photos he took at the ceremony. Back home, David nearly finds the medal under Emma's bed, but she distracts him at the last second. Later, David reviews the photos carefully, and in each one, Emma is staring directly at the medal. The next day, Elise, Milo's mother, visits David with a lawyer. They reveal that Emma was seen entering the woods with Milo, and they want to know if she heard or witnessed anything suspicious. Milo couldn't swim, so it was strange he climbed to the cliff alone. Chloe spies on the meeting from the hallway and instantly realizes what Emma did. When the lawyer hints that Emma might have killed Milo, Emma intentionally smashes a cookie jar in the kitchen to distract everyone. They rush to help her, and the meeting ends abruptly. David tends to Emma's injury and asks gently if she knows anything. Emma denies everything, calling Elise a liar who always hated her. She even pretends to cry to convince her father she's innocent. That evening, after David showers, he finds Chloe waiting in his room. She claims she only wanted to ask a question, but her intentions seem far from innocent. The next morning, Chloe visits David's workplace and acts like she loves Emma, but she's far more interested in discussing David's personal life. Later that day, Chloe takes Emma for a walk. She warns Emma that David is becoming suspicious, but assures her she has been protecting her. When they pass Elise visiting Milo's house, Chloe taunts Emma, saying she better come up with a convincing story. The police are getting closer to the truth. Emma, annoyed, reminds Chloe that she knows about the stolen pills and will expose her too, but Chloe doesn't flinch. She coldly describes how murderers die slowly in the electric chair, sending a chill down Emma's spine. Later that evening, Chloe searches the house for Emma but can't find her. She fails to notice that the wasp nest in the yard is missing. As she checks Emma's room, she finds something hidden under the bed, Milo's missing medal. Meanwhile, Elise leaves the house in her car, still shaken by everything that happened. As she's driving, a wasp suddenly buzzes out from under her seat and startles her so badly that she loses control of the wheel for a moment. Heart racing, she slams the brakes just in time. She rolls down the window to let the wasp escape, but she has no idea that an entire nest is stuck behind her headrest. Later that evening, David returns home from work. He notices immediately that the medal is missing from where he last placed it on his bedside lamp. When Emma comes running to greet him, she spots the medal first and snatches it instantly. David sees her slipping something behind her back and demands she show him what she's hiding. Chloe hears the commotion and steps in, explaining that she found the medal under Emma's bed earlier while cleaning. Emma tries to play innocent, pretending she has no idea how the medal got there. But David keeps pressing her until she finally tells a story. She claims she and Milo went into the forest to play a game, and when she won, he let her wear the medal. But then he wandered off and she never saw him again. David scolds her for hiding it, reminding her that Milo's mother wanted to bury him with the medal. Emma rolls her eyes and says the idea is stupid. Deeply concerned, David leaves the house and calls Angela, asking for the number of a child psychiatrist. While driving, he passes a major car accident surrounded by police and paramedics, but he doesn't stop, unaware of who the victim is. That night, disturbing dreams haunt him. He sees his pregnant wife alive again, appearing as a doctor, warning him that something was wrong with their daughter. He jerks awake in panic. In the morning, he finds Chloe peacefully floating on the pool chair in a provocative swimsuit, and for a split second, he thinks she's dead. But then Emma appears and claims Milo is haunting her as a zombie, only for David to realize this too is part of his nightmare. During breakfast, Emma angrily confronts Chloe for telling David about the medal. Chloe fires back, calling her a psychopath. David decides enough is enough. He drives Emma to Milo's house and forces her to return the medal, insisting she repeat the same story she told him earlier. Milo's mother stands frozen, unsure how to react. Still in shock, she shares heartbreaking news. She just learned that Elise, Milo's teacher, died in a car accident. The police found a giant wasp nest inside her vehicle. Emma makes a sad face and says she's heartbroken because Elise was her favorite teacher, then immediately convinces her father to go home. As soon as they walk outside, Emma cheerfully says, "That means we don't ever have to talk about Milo again," and runs ahead asking for cupcakes. Later that day, while working in his shop, David suddenly realizes something terrifying. The wasp nest from their backyard is missing. That night, he digs deep into online forums and medical journals researching childhood disorders. As he reads, a chilling possibility sinks in. Emma might actually be a sociopath. The next morning, he tells Emma they're going to the doctor, unaware that fresh blood stains her hand. At the clinic, David speaks with the psychiatrist first, explaining Emma's cold behavior and lack of emotion. When the doctor sits with Emma, the girl smiles sweetly and says nothing is wrong with her. When Milo's name is mentioned, she lies easily, claiming she cried for 2 whole days. A few minutes later, David is shocked to hear laughter from the office. The psychiatrist confidently concludes that Emma is perfectly normal and assures David he has nothing to worry about. When they arrive home, Chloe is sunbathing provocatively in the yard, clearly trying to get David's attention. Later, she checks on Emma and mocks her for having no friends. She even admits she's trying to date David. Emma warns her to stay away from her father, but Chloe just smirks. She's not afraid of the girl. That night, David leaves for a date. Before he goes, Emma blocks the door and tells him she never wants a stepmother. After he drives off, Chloe watches TV alone. Suddenly, the lights begin flickering. She hears a noise coming from the workshop and cautiously follows it. She steps inside, and the door slams shut behind her. She tries to yank it open, but it won't budge. She screams for help. The side door also shuts automatically, triggering the hidden mechanism in the room, a trap. Flames erupt along the walls, slowly turning the workshop into a furnace. Chloe pounds on the window desperately. Outside, Emma stands silently watching through the glass. Chloe punches the window again, cutting her hands open, but Emma doesn't move. She just watches. Chloe reels back in agony, but the flames spread too fast. Within seconds, fire devours her clothes, her skin, her entire body. She burns alive, screaming, while Emma watches with a calm, satisfied smile on her face. Moments later, David arrives home to a nightmare. Police cars, fire trucks, chaos. The workshop is nothing but ashes. When officers tell him that Chloe died in the fire, David collapses and vomits. Desperate for comfort, he rushes to hold Emma. The girl tells police that Chloe liked smoking in the workshop, planting the perfect lie. Once the authorities leave, David forces Emma to tell the truth about the cliff. Emma says Milo got angry when she took his medal, so she pushed him to get him away from her, and he accidentally fell. She claims she didn't believe him when he screamed that he couldn't swim. David's blood runs cold. He asks about the first nanny too, and Emma explains without emotion that the woman grabbed her arm, so Emma kicked her, causing the nanny to tumble down the stairs. She was the adult, Emma says coldly. She should have protected herself. When David realizes Emma is also responsible for Chloe and Elise's deaths, he explodes, and Emma screams back. Furious that he wants a new wife and didn't confront Chloe about stealing, David tries calling the psychiatrist, but she's on vacation. The next morning, the sheriff calls. He needs to question David and Emma together. David lies, saying Emma is seriously ill and he has a busy week at work. A meeting is scheduled for Monday. Immediately after, David wakes Emma and makes her pack her bags. After hours of driving, they arrive at David's lake house, a place he normally hates. The caretaker, Brian, greets them before returning to his cabin. That night, David calls Angela to explain where they are and reminds her that there's a gun in the bedroom drawer. Later, the sheriff calls back with chilling news. The fire in the workshop was arson, and the lab will soon identify who caused it. After hanging up, David goes to the bathroom, where a burnt hand suddenly grabs him from behind the shower curtain. He screams as he sees Chloe's charred corpse in the bathtub, but he wakes up, another nightmare. The next day, David ignores another call from the sheriff. Emma wanders through the forest alone. When she returns, she finds him watching a documentary about sociopaths. A new text arrives from the sheriff, urging him to call back, but David ignores it too. Emma watches him closely as he finally admits he no longer trusts her. That night, as David stares at the gun on the table, torn between fear and love, sleep eventually overtakes him. Emma sneaks into his room, kisses his cheek, then quietly turns on every gas valve in the house before heading outside to the lake. The strong smell wakes David. He runs through the house, shutting off the gas just in time. Outside, he sees Emma by the lake and confronts her. She simply says she wants to live with Angela. David brings her inside, torn apart emotionally. After staring at a photo of his late wife, he crushes sedatives into Emma's hot chocolate. She asks for whipped cream, so he leaves his mug next to hers. When they return, she switches the cups unnoticed. They sit together and drink. Emma slowly pretends to become sleepy, but moments later, it's David who collapses. After Emma falls asleep, David calls Angela and tells her everything Emma has done. She doesn't believe him at all. He also admits he's made a terrible choice. Hours later, Emma wakes, fully alert, and walks into David's room. She places the gun in his hand and pulls the trigger, but the shot misses, blowing apart his pillow instead. David wakes, horrified, struggling to move, realizing he drank the sedatives. He wrestles the gun away from her just as she grabs his phone. While David drops to the floor trying to reach the weapon, Emma calls emergency services, screaming hysterically that her father is trying to kill her. She runs to the bathroom and locks the door. David forces it open, raising the gun, just as Brian bursts into the room shouting for help again. Police sirens echo outside. David hesitates for one fatal second. Brian fires. The bullet hits David in the chest. He gasps, falls to the floor and dies in front of his daughter. Minutes later, officers storm the cabin. Brian tells them that David tried to kill Emma. Angela arrives soon after, believing every word, and wraps Emma in her arms. Emma smiles, pleased that everything unfolded exactly the way she planned. At last, what are your thoughts on what you would do if you learned a friend of yours is a psychopath? If you enjoyed this recap, make sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel to never miss new videos. I'll see you in the next one.